y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones and I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and you're now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. It's a little episode I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews, and we are reviewing Abbott Elementary Season 3, Episode 12, Mother's Day, and we are sipping on absinthe, fruit punch, and ginger ale. Yes, squad. How y'all doing? So I thought it was funny because I don't know, I just feel it's funny because now they like trying to boycott the celebrities and shit and block them on the internet because they went to the Met Gala and they swore in Palestine, and I just feel like that's funny. Oh, it's hilarious. And I like to say, there's nothing new under the sun, and the revolution always starts with the rich. It always starts with some way of cutting off the rich from their ability to make money in some way or some shit like that. And I just love it. It's magical. But anyways, let's get into this episode. So let's start off with the lightest thing. So Jacob is trying to find funding for the field trip that they have at the end of every year. And he's going around trying to find funding. He goes to Tariq because Tariq is over here mob bossing the PTA, and I'm just like, he's found his little thing, his little corner that he can sit in and create something. Because Tariq is a hustler, and I always like to say, just because you're a hustler don't mean you're an intellectual. And so you just can hyper focus on a particular thing, like numbers and things like that, and be able to grow something out of it. So find your calling and hyper focus on it, and you can create something yourself. Tariq's like, no, we ain't got money for that. And so Jacob's like, oh snap. And first he tried to do a GoFundMe, but Ava just has sapped the GoFundMe completely. And so then they go to the drag brunch. I thought they were going to incorporate the drag brunch into the field trip. They may still do it, but I can see that's hard to do in schools because you taking all them kids to see drag queens play Shakespeare in the park, which is something that I don't find to be a problem, but all them kids have various different parents. And so, the school district doesn't want that smoke. That's all it is. And I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And so they're going to take them just to the park. That's free. And, that's the decision they made. Anyways, here comes Janine. Janine in here. I was so upset. I had to look up the age of Kevin Hart because I was like, and I had to look up the age of Keita Brunson because I caught it at the end. I had to watch it a few times before I heard her say her age. She's 27 on the show. Kevin Hart is 44. Keita Brunson is 34. So the whole first time I watched this episode, I was just like, y'all are 10 years apart. What are you? So he had you when he was 10, honey, and Taraji B. Henson is 53. So I could believe her more so being Keita's mother, because that's 20 years apart. So you could have had her when you was 20. It makes sense. But she's 27 in the show, so that means that if Kevin Hart is 44 in this universe, then that means that he would have probably been 17, and Taraji had her when she was in high school, so they're trying to pretend like Kevin Hart and Taraji P. Henson are the same age, and I just feel like you trying to call niggas old. No, because I was sitting up here why they got this young man? And I don't even like Kevin Hart like that, but I'm just like, why they got this young man here playing her dad? Where's the 60-something-year-old nigga or some shit? But I guess because she was conceived when her mom was in high school, they still have to make it seem, I don't know, it's stupid. So anyways, Janine, it's Mother's Day. She's not going with her mom because her mom doesn't like to celebrate Mother's Day. Janine's sister is going to celebrate Mother's Day with her dad and her stepdad. They have two separate dads, and Ava was fucked up. She was like, well, look at their height difference. And I'm just like, they're not that much of a height difference. They're both 5'5" and 5'2" or some shit. It's not that far apart, but whatever, nigga. When they were standing next together in that episode, they didn't, whatever. And so, like, Janine is gonna hang out with Jacob and Erica and who else was there? Ava at the drag brunch. And so, like, Janine is like, sitting there just like talking about like, because Ava was talking shit about like her having a separate dad. And then Ava was like, "Oh, your dad could be Kevin Hart." And then Janine was like, "Well, maybe." She just needs to latch on to something that would provide her with a better parent than what she has now. Because sometimes when you have a crappy parent and an absent parent or two crappy parents, you just want to like just grab a hold of whatever you dreamland shit you can to potentially have a new parent instead of just learning how to reparent yourself. But we're not putting these people in therapy. No, sirree, Bob, we're not. And so she latched on to that, calls her mama. Her mama's in Canada. That was funny. She was like, "Why are you putting gravies on my french fries? What is this, a boot?" And Taraji's like, "Oh yeah, like we wasn't together, but we fucked and shit. And he was making layups and doing free throws, and he was the best one on the basketball team doing slam dunk, won the slam dunk contest and everything." And I was just like, "Yeah, he sure could fly." Sure, he could fly. That little man could fly up there and slam dunk into a basket. He sure probably could. Maybe, possibly. And so Janine goes on this mission of figuring out if Kevin Hart's her dad. And I'm just like sitting here like, that nigga is 10 years older than you. We couldn't pick nobody else he's the right age for someone that's 27 that was conceived in high school. But I'm just like, it just made me feel old. It just made me feel old and raggedy. And I was just like, Quinta, you don't feel old doing this too? No, because Taraji would make sense. Like, for the age Quinta Brunson is in real life, Taraji makes sense. But, Janine, let's get back to her character. Let me shut up. Before Janine, she just needs to latch on to something that would potentially represent a better parenting experience than what she's had. She is still, that inner child is still looking for that outside validation. And since she can't get it from her mama, well, let's see if Kevin Hart's my dad. Like, why not? When I was a kid, my dad was neglectful and shit. And he wasn't in my life. I was just always wishing that my mom could, at least if you gonna fuck some trash ass nigga, fuck a rich one. Like, we could have had thousands each month in child support. We could have been living in a fucking mansion while he was over there with a bevy of bitches getting them pregnant too and shit. Like we could have been on some shit, but no. That's not what happened. So I understand. We want to try to create something instead of just creating that shit in ourselves. And so anyways, like Melissa helps Janine out and says, "Well, I know someone that cuts Kevin Hart's hair and can get his hair and take your DNA." And and I'm like, "Does Kevin Hart live in Philadelphia? Like, I thought he had a house in LA, but them niggas be having houses all over the country and shit. I don't fucking know. When you're rich, you can just have land everywhere and shit and all this other stuff." And so she get his hair, and then she just sitting up at the drag brunch pouting and shit, just and Ava's just like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And she's like, and Erica's just like, she want Kevin Hart to be her daddy so bad. And Ava's just like, "Girl, whatever, bitch." So they get the DNA results back. Of course, Kevin Hart is not her fucking dad. And I'm just like, right, because y'all are 10 years apart in real life. I don't care. Why you couldn't find somebody that was also the same age as Taraji P. Henson, like 53 years old? I'm just... Let me shut up. Let me just make me feel old and raggedy. You have kids in high school, be young still and vibrant. His kids are teenagers, and he could have some errant child out there that's like a grown up and 27. He could. These niggas be fucking around. But anyway, they all cheering her up and shit. And Erica's like, you don't need a dad. And Ava's like, yeah, it's better to not know who your dad is than to have a neglectful one. And I so agree with that. I just feel like to have a nigga just be in and out of your life and shit and making false promises and sitting at windows and waiting hours for him to come pick you up and him not picking you up. That is some bullshit. And so I would have rather just not have had a dad, just not known who that nigga was. I would have just rather not known who he was than to be sitting here at windows for hours because he said we was going to go somewhere and we're going to hang out in all my cute little clothes. And that set me up for failure later on with the ain't shit inconsistent niggas that I was fucking around with in my 20s. And it would have saved some time. I probably wouldn't have had those situations happen if I didn't have to have those experiences as like an elementary school student or age child. Oh, black women. Oh, I have so many issues. It's so interesting. Good thing I went to therapy for this shit. Now it's funny. Now it's just like, oh, little me, it's okay, girl. We'll take care of ourselves, and Jesus will bring us the man one day that will also join in on the taking care of self and things. Anyways, so they hyping her up and they just like, oh, it's okay, girl, it's okay. And then she realizes it's I mean, I'm sure it's not 100% fine, but like she felt better and that was nice. And then Gregory and Barbara, and Barbara pissed me off. The first time in this episode she pissed me off was when she saw the Mother's Day decorations Gregory did for his kids, and it just said to the moms, and she was just like, oh, he barely did anything. And then Melissa was like, yeah, just like a nigga. And I was just like, girl. And then he came out and explained, like, yeah, I asked the kids, whoever wants to participate can participate. Because she was just like, well, don't you want your whole class to participate? Girl, some people don't have moms. Some people have abusive moms. Some people don't. What are you talking about? Are you not considering the words that are coming out? Just be forceful. Barbara just be trying to force people to do shit based off of her own stuff and not considering their own individual plights. And I'm tired of her having to be told that other people process and have other life experiences separate from the life experience that she has before she gets it. Like why you gotta be told that, Barbara? Why can't you just recognize that other people are individually separate from you? I was just like, well, he just did what he was supposed to do. Like, you ain't supposed to pressure these kids into celebrating a day where they could have fucked up family members and not have a parent and shit, and making them feel all dejected and fucked up, trying to do some kind of Mother's Day activity when they ain't got no fucking mom, or they got an abusive mom, or their mom might have left them and now they got to be raised by their grandparents or their dad or some shit like that. Like, don't do that. Don't do that to them kids. So he let the children choose if they wanted to participate or not. And some of them did, and they drew little pictures and put it on the wall, and he put his little thing up there and said to the moms, and that was that. So she reading him the riot act, talking about, don't you want the kid, all your classes to participate? Blah, blah, blah. What would your mom think? I'm just like, why are you assuming his mom is alive and well in his life? Why are you assuming everyone has a mom? And he was just like, well, my mom died when I was 9. And she just goes on this whole crusade because she thinks he's just at the depths of grief, like she still is, because she's still at the depths of grief. Not understanding that some of us, because my mom died when I was 18. And, we went to therapy. We worked through it. We grieved through it. And yes, there are moments, like I like how he said, there are moments where you are reminded and you become nostalgic. You may get a little sad. You may dissociate a little bit. But then you just perk it back up and keep on pushing. It's just, death is death. After a certain period of time of that person being gone, you're not going to feel the same way you did when they first left. You're just going to your nervous system, if you're in a healthy environment and you've worked through it in therapy and grief groups and shit like that, your nervous system is just going to adjust to the fact that they're not there anymore. And then you just live and do things. And, it is what it is. But Barbara isn't there. So she is still in the depths of grief as if her mom just left the earth. And so she's projecting that on Gregory. And she's like, oh, he's so sad because he wants to go play Topgolf by himself because it'll be empty because the dads are going to be gone for Mother's Day. And he's just super excited to do that. Just have a peaceful Zen day where he doesn't really have to think about the fact that it's Mother's Day. And he can just relax in doing something that is a repetitive movement, a sports activity. I learned from my male clients that the shit that they get from things like golfing and fishing is basically meditation. Like they be describing it like it's so zen and it makes me feel relaxed and that, and I'm just like, that repetitive movement that you're doing during that activity that's making you feel zen and relaxed, that's what meditation is. You're just doing an activity to bring that kind of mindfulness feeling of calmness to your brain, and you don't even fucking realize that that's why you're doing that activity. And I just, slow repetitive movements over and over again, you know, hitting a ball, doing it again and again, all that other stuff. That's like mental health shit. Like you just, but then all these niggas don't want to go to fucking therapy though. They just, you know, it's fine, whatever. I mean, it's not fine, but you know, you can't force people to do shit that they don't want to do. Barbara. And so anyways, he's just like, goes back in his classroom, doesn't think it's a big deal. So later, he's sitting there talking to his plants like they're his children or some shit. And he is just going to be a great father to him and Janine's children. Yes, he is. I don't give a fuck. Leave me alone. And here come Barbara thinking he's just sad and miserable and shit. And he's just doing his own thing. He likes, the nigga's autistic. I swear he is. Yes, he is. And usually he's at the very least neurodivergent. And neurodivergent, folks, it's like object impermanence. That means that if an object isn't in your line of sight, you just kind of forget about it. And neurodivergent folks do that with people too. And so like they can go long periods of time just kind of isolated by themselves with their own little hobbies and their own little things that they want to do. Like him being in a classroom by himself, eating his lunch and feeling just so a type of way about them kids coming in there wanting to hang out with him because that's his alone time. Like people that are neurotypical don't understand that. Like people that are okay in their alone time, like they don't want that shit disturbed, you know? And I was also thinking, you know, because that teacher that was grooming them students, I don't care what nobody fucking say, don't come on here saying that he wasn't grooming them students because they found that fucking video of him with his shirt off, lusting after a 16-year-old on TikTok, having them little girls unbraid his fucking hair. First of all, dirty, nasty hair. Why you got, and the thing is, I thought it was interesting because this is what manipulative groomers do. He went to outside class and asked for students to come help him unbraid his hair. And he specifically asked for the students that had finished their work and had got everything done. And to me, that translated into give me your nerdy kids that are more likely to be isolative and don't have fucking friends, because that's who the manipulative people go after. They go after the nerdy passive kids that are isolative and don't have fucking friends, and then they groom them to make them think that you're their best friend. And you know the fucked up part is, because he hasn't apologized once, he's sitting on the internet. Why do you have these kids' phone numbers texting you? And then the fucked up part is that these kids are now blaming themselves for him getting fired. Why you got kids blaming themselves for you getting fired and you're still justifying your actions? That's how I know that nigga is a pedophile. I don't give a fuck. He should have did just like Gregory did when them kids came up in his classroom and been like, he was like, why are you in here? Get the fuck out of here. And then he realized that they actually enjoy his company. So what he did, instead of having them in a classroom by themselves with him, he created a program where they could garden and create things. He created something for them to learn from during their lunch break, rather than, oh, you can just be up in here and unbraid my hair. Not to say that teachers that allow your students to be in class during lunch are all fucked up and evil, because I had an English teacher, he loved the Simpsons. He would always have Simpsons paraphernalia on his desk, all that shit. He would let us come in there at lunchtime and he would do nothing. He would just be sitting over there reading books and shit, and would have the TV on playing Simpson reruns so we could have something to watch. Like, we would talk to him and shit. I didn't talk to him, but other students would talk to him, but they wouldn't go behind his desk, like, and then he would continue to read his book in a newspaper and shit, and we would just be up in there because we needed a place to go, and it was all the nerdy kids that didn't want to be outside with all the rowdy kids, and it was cool. Like, that's how it was. So I'm not saying all teachers that bring their kids to the class and let them be in there during lunch are horrible people. Why you got these little girls unbraiding your hair? Like when you go to the hair salon or you have someone do your hair or some shit, you know that feeling that you get in your scalp that feels really good sometimes and travels down into your body and can sometimes be similar to arousal. That happens for a lot of people. Why are you having little children touch your hair when you are like that feeling is probably happening for him too. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, back to being alone. So, neurodivergent folks don't mind being by themselves, doing activities by themselves, because like what they do is they hyper focus on the activities that they're doing, and it's almost akin to like mindfulness. It's like we're not thinking about anything else really. We're just, if I'm reading a book, I'm focused on the book. If I'm playing a video game, I can sit there and play. If it's a really good game and I'm winning, I can sit there and probably play a video game for about 2 hours. Like 2 hours straight, and then I'm done. Like, okay, well, I won a couple levels. This is cool. I did a couple adventures and shit, like, and it's good. But no, like people that are neurotypical, because they lead with their insecurities, see that shit and be like, oh, and then project their insecurities onto the neurodivergent folks, and then be like, oh, they must be so lonely by themselves. When in reality, I'm pissed off that you interrupted my fucking winning streak. I almost got done with this level, and now you want me to do small talk. But then you have to mask and be like, oh yes, it's such a great day and life is life and beauty is beauty and oh, you did that, wow. And then you try to like keep looking at what you're doing, but now you can't fucking concentrate. And then if you're like still doing the activity you were doing when they came over to give small talk and you're not fully paying attention to them, now they have an attitude and think that you're ignoring them, when in reality you're making shit up in your head. You came over to me, you disturbed me, you bothered me, and now I have to placate your fucking emotions because you projected your insecurities onto me when I was almost done with this fucking level, bitch. No, because when you're in a zone and you're almost done and then they come and interrupt you, and then it's like you have to reset yourself to win this shit again. Like you have to reset yourself. You're not in the same zone that you were when you were almost done with the level. So now you have to reset yourself when you get back to that shit. That shit's fucking annoying. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what nobody says. And then it's like, sometimes I don't mind it. Sometimes I don't mind being interrupted when I'm doing isolative things. But usually I will look up and start talking to you if I don't mind it. Usually that's what happens. I'm like, oh, hey, what you doing? Like, I would just look up and start talking to you. Like, you don't have to. It's bothersome. So Barbara coming over, all of it was overstimulating and cringe. All of what Barbara, and I understand Barbara was sad. She was still in the midst of her grief, but it's like when people come and put their shit on you and you just don't want to be bothered. And he was trying to be so nice because he understood, like, like he said at the end, my mom was just like that. She wanted to include everybody. It's good intentions. I understand, but the shit is annoying. It is. It's annoying. Like, can you ask? Like, hey, like, if you start to talk to somebody doing something and they're just like cutting the sentence off, like, oh, hey, and then getting back to their thing and they're not continuing the conversation, like, how about we stop the conversation there? It's okay to say hi. But if the person is not trying to continue the conversation, just stop the conversation there, and don't assume that they're lonely or they're shy or some shit like that. Because if they're shy and they actually want you to keep talking to them, then that's some shit they need to work on. That's some shit they need to work on, instead of having all these hints and weird shit and weird activities and asking all these weird hinty questions to get you to respond in a certain way. They need to work on some shit, because I'm not feeding into that shit either. Like, that's all I'm saying. But neurotypical people just make that shit up in their head and feel like, oh, they're just shy. Let me continue talking to them until they talk back to me. And then eventually they won't be shy anymore. Like, girl, no, nobody's shy. Nobody's shy. I don't have the energy to be babies are dying in the fucking world, and I cannot dissociate from it anymore. And so I am constantly being bombarded with emotions that I don't want to fucking deal with, but I have to deal with them. And so I'm just tired, and I just really want to be nonverbal right now. Like, I just don't really want to talk to people and involve myself, interact with people. I mean, I will, but I just... let me choose if I want to interact with you. Don't take it personally and think that it's your fault, you did something wrong, or I'm upset with you. It has nothing to do with you whatsoever. I promise you, I swear that it has nothing to do with you. Gregory wanting to play top golf had nothing to do with Barbara. That's just what he did to zen out and partially disassociate and keep his mind off of the fact that it's Mother's Day. Because yes, it still bothers you. It's just not as intense as it was when it first happened. It's just because I understand it, because he went to her house. They was, oh God, oh fuck, I felt so and I'm glad they illustrated it this way. Like, I really feel like Kenta is sending messages in her fucking show and teaching people shit about how people are, because this is some neurodivergency that I just feel is on point. Like, he went to her house and then it was all like, are you a hugger? Is your family a hugger? And he was like, no. And they were like, well, we are. And then they was just hugging up on him and I was just like, ew. And he was all stiff and shit and I was just like, ew. And it's not that I have to for me, I don't mind physical touch necessarily, but you have to be my child or my nigga or my cat. What? You have to be my child, my nigga, or my cat for me to be totally comfortable with you coming and touching me. Otherwise, strangers, like, I'm not used to your bodily smells. I'm sitting here wondering if you washed your hands after you used the bathroom. I can smell the breath emanating from your mouth when you hug me and your face is next to mine. Sometimes you be grabbing too hard and you can feel it and it's uncomfortable. And so those are all the things that are going through my mind when strangers touch me. And then I'm just wondering, like, are they gonna like try to graze my boob or do some weird shit? Especially if it's a nigga, like, are they? And I'd be like just refusing to hug niggas. Like, and then if I do, I just do a real quick get back, because if I'm in a situation, it's a crowd. I don't have the energy to deal with the consequences that come from making a scene and saying you're not a hugger. Then I will just. But if I do have the smoke that day, I will tell you I'm not a hugger in front of 100 people. I don't care. It just depends on my energy levels, because I have to still sit with all those sensorial experiences I had to experience after you fucking touched me. Like, I can still feel the imprints of the touch on my body after you fucking touched me, and I don't like that. And the only way it goes away is if you've been around me for a while and I'm used to you, and then I don't mind it. Like, the dude that gives me a massage at the chiropractor once a month. At first it was weird, because when I first started going to the chiropractor, I had never had male masseuses and stuff. But like, I keep him as my same masseuse for a reason. Not just because he does a decent job. He does a good job. But also because then I don't have to get used to somebody else touching me. You know, like, because it's fucking weird. They do it different. They don't do the same thing or some shit. Like, it's just weird. Like I'm used to that nigga giving me the massage. And I'm going to hate when he, like, goes off and quits and goes to bigger and better one day. Because now I'm going to have to fucking adjust my body to some new motherfucker to give me a massage. And it's such a process to have to adjust to some new motherfucker touching you and shit, nigga. Like, and so that's why I have to be used to you. If you're my child, you came out of me. So it's just like, whatever, nigga. If you my nigga, like, I enjoy that. Like, you do, like, I'm used to you and shit. And that's my cat. Like, you know, girl, but like random motherfucking people, they be smell like BO and shit, or like heavy cologne or perfume, with BO underneath. And it's just, ugh. You can smell their hair and shit, and like, people don't know all the things you give off when you like touch people and get all up in their space, and it's just so overwhelming. And I just felt it when they kept grabbing at him, and then he goes and he told her, like, he was on leave. He was like, I'm only here for a short amount of time. I just came to pop my head in. This bitch is going to just keep pressing the issue, and I was just like, stop it, Barbara. Like, as soon as he sits down, I'm just like, why are you making him the center of attention, Barbara? Why can't you just, because you can't get the fact that your mom has gone off your mind, you have to like project and make it about, like, so just so that you can like satiate that need to talk about it without actually talking about it indirectly, just talk. And then she's like, let's pray for our fellow bereaved. Gregory. And I was just like, girl, stop. And then her husband, and I don't know if that was her sister or whatever, whoever she was, gets up and puts their hands on him. And then Barbara goes into this weird ass prayer about in the bosom of the Lord, deep, deep down in the bosom. And I was just like, girl, it was just too much for me. It was so cringy and too fucking much for me. And I was just looking at this nigga and I was like, this nigga's autistic. This nigga's autistic. Something's going on because I feel it. And I got some shit going on. I don't know if it's autism. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's some shit. So he gotta feel it. And I was just like, please stop touching him. Please stop. And he was so nice. That's when you gotta have control of your mask, because I would have just stripped them niggas off so quick. I'm not there yet. And I realize why I don't really mask like that, and I don't really care to. Because my mom just completely accepted me as a person. Like when I was a kid, in my worst state, before even going to therapy, temper tantruming and, being spoiled and all, like she just couldn't, like, but even outside of the worst part, just the weird quirky parts and shit, she never judged me for any of it. Like she never said, oh, that's weird, or like, why are you doing that? Like she liked that I sat up and read 5 books in a week and shit. Like she never really made me feel bad about myself. Like other people made me feel bad about myself, but I didn't really care because I was like, well, my mom loves me, so it is what it is. Fuck y'all niggas. I got somebody to go home to, bitch. Do you got somebody to go home to? Probably not. That's why you're so angry. And so that's what my childhood was. And I realized, like, I never learned to mask none of this shit because I never intrinsically saw it as a problem. I was just mad that other people couldn't see how cool I was. I was like, my mom thought I was cool. Why you niggas don't think I'm cool? Something's wrong with y'all. And it would make me feel bad because, like, I would genuinely care about people and all this other stuff, but it would just be like, they would always have these comments. Why you dress like that? Why you do your hair like that? Why you like that? And like that. And it was, like, depressing and shit and stuff, but I still maintained a semblance of me to the point where I didn't pretend. Like, I just felt sad about the fact that you were mean to me. That's it. I didn't hide it, though. Like, I didn't think that to hide it. Like, that wasn't I need to hide the fact that da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, no, I'm not. Never. I was just depressed. Like, that was it. Like, I was just depressed. Well, I mean, depression is not great. But, it never occurred to me to hide myself. I just figured, well, I think I'm a good person. So one day somebody gonna think I'm a good person too. And it's gonna be that. And and now I know that I can only invite people around me that accept me fully and wholly, like my mom did, but having like better boundaries and shit. And I realize that that's the way I feel the safest. And so I isolate a lot because I can fully be myself without the commentary. Like, I fully can just be who I am without the extra commentary and questions and you telling me that I can't do this or I can't do. Like, I don't fucking want your opinion unless I ask for it. I don't need you to tell me if this outfit is cute or not. Like, I think it's cute. Because I never learned to not like myself. I just didn't like that people didn't like me. But it never occurred to me to change anything about myself. Because I had an example of somebody liking me without me having to change a damn thing. And so I was just logicalizing it in my head. And I was just like, well, if this person can like me without having to change shit, then that logically there's like 7 at the time, probably like 6 billion people in the world. Now it's 8 billion people. Logically, there's someone else out there. There's the other people out there that are like me. So why I gotta change? I gotta change shit, bitch. I was defiant with it. I'm not changing a motherfucking thing. Like, in the times that I would try to mask, those would be the times I would feel the worst. Like, I would just feel so sick and depressed, and like I would have suicidal thoughts, and I would just be like, wait a minute, what's causing this? I wasn't feeling this bad, and it was because I was trying to be some shit that I wasn't. And then I would have to stop masking. And now I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, like, how do these people just sit up here and pretend all day without like wanting to kill them? Like, we got a bunch of neurodivergent motherfuckers that have been doing that masking shit their whole fucking life, and like, it just kind of destroys your nervous system and shit. Like, I look back now and I'm just like, I would have rather just been depressed like I was. Fuck it. Like, cause that pretending shit were the worst moments of my life. I never want to feel that. That shit was horrible. Like, I never want to all the time, or like all every day when you're at work and at school and you can only be yourself when you come home and you're in privacy. Like, I'm not doing that. I've worked on the parts that like were rude and, mean and, blunt and truthful to the point where it hurt people's feelings or embarrassed them and shit. Cause, I have empathy as well and I don't want to like hurt people. So, I was just like, I don't have to tell her that her shirt is ugly. She likes it. And I would logicalize it in my head. Like, well, maybe in the scheme of things in the universe, it's not ugly. And everybody has their own unique style and differences. And so maybe I'm wrong for thinking it's ugly. See, that's how I logicalize. See, girl. I be learning shit about myself watching these videos and making these videos and all this other shit because, girl... And to other people, it may sound conceited, but it's not conceited, because conceited means I want to be better than the rest of y'all niggas. And I was just like, no, I just want everybody to be on the same level and understand that you don't have to be extra and do all this other stuff to make people like you and shit. And you can just like your fucking self and not project shit on other people and make people feel uncomfortable and shit and just live. And let the people that like your shit come to you rather than you trying to mold and shape and be and do and all this other stuff and making yourself sick and suicidal and all this other shit and self-harming and all this other shit so that you can hold up this facade and pretend to be some other shit that you're actually not. I wish everyone else could feel that way too. Like, that's not conceited. Cause I'm staying up here, nigga. Like, sky's the limit, motherfucker. I'm not ever coming back down to that motherfucking place where I ain't feel like shit, motherfucker. You got me fucked up, nigga. Like, so I'm just like, excuse. I get more niggerish when I'm upset. I notice that too about myself. Like, when I feel safe, I'm like really goofy, girly, like kiddish and all this other. But when I don't feel safe, when I feel tired, when I feel overwhelmed, I turn into a fool ass fucking nigga, bitch. And so some of these videos, you'll see me all dressed up all girly and weird and shit, and you be like, why is she doing that? And in some of these videos, I'm just be sitting up here with my legs cocked looking like a nigga. Like, no, because the world they killing babies and shit. And they got these people cornered, and these motherfucking congressmen are talking about fucking nuking them like in Hiroshima and shit. Like, these are fucking, like, that was wrong. That was like one of Nagasaki and Hiroshima were two of the worst war crimes you could fucking do. Them Japanese people didn't come over here and kill a whole city worth of people. They shot at some fucking boats and shit, nigga, and it wasn't right. But you went and you killed civilians in two fucking towns and shit that people can barely live in and shit. I swear I believe the Japanese folks, they had a treaty where they couldn't have an army for 100 years. I promise you, them niggas is underground building Neon Genesis Evangelion outfits and suits and shit, and they've been doing it probably since that's the animes is real, motherfucker. And one day we gonna look up in the sky and be like, what the fuck is that? It's gonna be Neon Genesis Evangelion, bitch. It's gonna be one of them fucking bio robot shits and shit, and they're gonna kill us all. They'll come over here and they're gonna kill us all because these white motherfucking devils blew up their cities. They gonna come and they gonna do doubly worse to us. And I just want to be on the deserted island that I find to live on with fruits and coconuts and all sorts of plants to eat. And, by that time, me and Poops and whoever the nigga is, my husband that God sends me, yes, and so, that shit made me uncomfortable because they was over there touching him and it was weird. They was weird. And then he stood on business. I loved it. That's how you keep a boundary. He had to be soft yet firm. And I'm mad that he even had to get to that point where he had to be soft yet firm. Why couldn't you have just taken his no when he said no, Barbara? You could have just been like, okay, well, just know that if you did want to come over, the door's open, and if you change your mind, and then just let it be. Why couldn't you have just done that? That's all you have to do. If you ask somebody something and they say no, you can still leave the door open for if they change their fucking mind. Unless it's like some scheduled shit and they gotta change their mind by a certain time. Then you can just be like, well, let me know by such and such if you change your mind, because that's when we need to buy the tickets or whatever the fuck you gotta do that's scheduled and shit. They got a deadline or whatever the fuck. And if they don't, then fuck them, shit. That's how you leave the shit. The ball is in your court to do what you want with it. Like, I'm not about to force you to do shit. Nigga, you don't want to come to my fucking Mother's Day shit. You ain't got to come to my Mother's Day shit. It's not that serious. It isn't. Like, I wanted some of that fried chicken on the side. Why'd you be fake? That shit was fake. What was the best looking fake fried chicken I'd have never seen? I want fried chicken now. They got this place where they roast the fried chicken. It's like double fried and shit. It's like these Asian folks. I don't know if they're Korean or whatever, but like they like roast it, and so they like double fry it in the not an air fryer. What is that other thing? It's not an air fryer. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And they roast it, and that is the best fried chicken I've ever had in my fucking life. Like it's like hard yet juicy. Like, and the skin is extra crispy, and it doesn't get hella soggy fast and shit if you put it in the refrigerator. And you can get in different flavors and shit. So like lemon pepper and Cajun. I'm hungry. I might go there tomorrow. They chicken is good, and like, I wanted that chicken she had. Like, if anything, I would have took a piece of chicken. I'd be like, well, I have to go. And I would have took a piece of chicken. And he got to the door, and she was just like, but it's so sad that you want to play taco by yourself. And he was like, no, it's not. It's sad sitting up here listening to how my mother died all day. And that, I felt it. Because, like, I don't even be thinking about Mother's Day or Father's Day until somebody be saying some shit. Or I'm scrolling on this social medias and shit. And I'm just like, it's nice when you just don't have to think about it. Because I'm healed enough to where it doesn't really bother me. But then it's like you got to be reminded all fucking day. As soon as somebody asks you what you did for Mother's Day, and you have to tell them, oh, blah, 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 make up some shit. And like, why are you constantly triggering me all day? Like, stop asking me if I'm okay. Like, that was like when I was 18. I am 37 years old. Damn, that is 20 years ago. Girl, I'm old, bitch. That hurt my feelings. I'm old. Wow. I mean, I'm not old, but like, damn. It's already been, I wonder if we're going to have a 20-year high school reunion. We didn't have a 10-year because niggas was niggering and they couldn't organize. And so I didn't even have a fucking 10-year high school reunion. So I wonder if they're going to try to put together a 20. That shit is, wow. Next year it's going to be 20 years since I've been 18. Nigga. Wow. Oh, that shit hurt my feelings. I don't know how to feel about that. But anyways, it's like you gotta be like constantly reminded all fucking day. And then you want him to sit there and be prayed over and talking about the bosom of God and his name is Faith. And I'm just like, I didn't want it. I'm glad he got up. I'm sad that he had to get soft yet firm with her, but it's like that's the best he can stay professional and kind to her and her emotions and shit. So it is what it is. And like, cause for me, I would have been like, Barbara, I already told you no. I don't understand what the problem is. And then people will get mad because I didn't mean it to sound like I was mad, but sometimes you have to put on the adult I'm talking to a child voice, because some people are coming from a child's place, meaning they are emotional, their emotional intelligence is still in childhood when they first got traumatized, because the age that you first get traumatized is the age that you act emotionally when you get triggered. So sometimes you have to come from an elevated adult place as if you're talking to a child, and niggas don't like that, because then they feel like you're talking down to them when they don't want to feel like they're a child, and they keep lying to themselves like they're not acting like a child, but you're acting like a child. You're acting like a child by not accepting my boundaries. You're like whining and you're like pulling at me, and it's weird. And so since you're acting like a child, I'm going to have to put on the firm voice and ask, why you keep asking me when I've told you no? What's the problem? And then they're going to be like, oh, you're so mean. Like, oh, hurt feelings. And I'll be like, fuck. You're just like, fuck. This is why people don't have good boundaries. It's because niggas like this just be pulling on your shit and won't leave you the fuck alone and respect your boundaries and still act normal after you've set the boundary, like still be there and shit. And so like, in order to not be alone, niggas will just be like, fine, I'll sit here and listen to you drone on about the bosom of God while I dissociate into this dark ass fucking place, because now I have to mask doubly hard to sit here and listen to this. And Gregory said, no, nigga. He said, no, nigga. And that was so professionally nice of him. And I'm glad that he kind of explained it to her. Like, that's your tradition. That's not mine. I want to go in peace and zen all day. And we come to find out Barbara over here overcompensating, doing all this extra stuff. That was her way of dissociating, but not dissociating. And everybody's looking at her like she got some shit going on. And then Melissa and, whatchamacallit, her daughter is just like, girl, just sit down. Cause she's trying to like now that her security emotional blanket that she was putting all her fucking issues on is gone. Now the only thing that she has to kind of separate herself from the grief that's welling up in the back of her fucking head is to keep trying to be the best hostess of the mostest and shit. And everybody can see that this is not it, bro. This is not it, bro. It's not. And so like Melissa and her daughter was like, we got this. Like, you can go sit down. Like, you can just go sit down. You know, you can cry a little bit. You can eat something. You can cry a little bit. Whatever you need to do, but sit down. And so she goes and she meets Gregory at Top Golf, and Gregory is just standing there like he's fed. This is the most that I've seen him fed up. Like, he's like, Barbara, I'm not going back to your house. And I'm just like, oh, you're so much better than me, because let somebody just follow me when I've told them I needed some space. I'll just be like, okay, so now we have a problem, because now you're invading my boundaries. Now we have a problem. What is the problem? Girl, no, because why are you fucking here when I'm trying to relax? Girl, now I'm upset. You know, I just feel like things need to be communicated properly, and then when they are, they need to be respected. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to force the issue on you just because I have a belief system and you don't. Okay? Like, I'm not going to do that unless, like, okay. Like, unless some shit is like wrong and you still doing the shit, like, that's one thing. Like, you ain't going to sit up here and tell me that you going to sit up here and do crack because on Mother's Day because you're sad. Bitch, what do we need to do? Because no, this is not what I'm gonna do meth today, because no, I don't care. What do we need to do? Like, tell me what we need. I will snatch it. We will tussle all day. Like what you call it? David and that motherfucking angel, nigga, to make sure that you wouldn't smoke one hit of crack. I don't know. We're not doing this. You're not smoking crack. You know, whatever that was, it Joseph, somebody, it was, them names is common and shit in the Bible, when he was tussling with that angel and shit all night and shit for whatever the fuck reason. No, you're not doing that. Like, there are things that I do put my foot down on that I will not allow people I care about to. I'm not allowing you to harm yourself. I'm not allowing you to be harmed. I'm not. So if that means that we can't be friends anymore, you can go harm yourself unbeknownst to me, Or are we tussling? Like, I don't know. Like, I have to tie you up. What's going on? What's going on? How tie your ass and just leave you in here? Because, you're not going on a drive-by. Like, what do you... Let me find out some shit. My kids going on a fucking drive-by with their friend. Bitch. What do you mean your friends are in a gang? No. Somewhere I must have failed. We're going to do just like one of them Lifetime movies, Hallmark movies and shit, and we're going to visit the countryside. Stay for the summer. You're going to learn to ride a horse, and we're just going to rent an Airbnb for 3 months. I'll pull together the fucking money, and you are going to learn. You are going to learn, and you're still going to do sessions with your therapist like once a week via Zoom and shit, nigga. Like it's going to be all the things, and we are going to learn to bond. Something's going to happen to fix this here relationship, because you are not about to be friends with these gangsters and thugs and just be hanging around them one day, and you are the innocent friendly fire, bitch. I'll fuck. No, because kids just be doing shit. You're not gonna do shit on my motherfucking watch, bitch, that gets you killed and shit, nigga. You got me fucked up. I wouldn't be like an overbearing, like, helicopter parent, but it's just like, I'm gonna love myself enough to know that you have your own autonomy, so that you feel comfortable enough around me to tell me shit. You gotta manipulate them a little bit. You gotta, like, you have your own freedoms. Like, I'm not gonna sneak this. I'm not gonna try to find shit out. Like, I'm not gonna do all that shit. I'm gonna put cameras around or nothing. I'm just going to love myself enough to understand your autonomy and try not to force you to do things while still building a structured environment where you understand that we're not doing fuck shit in here. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. I don't care. Shit. God's gonna send me the nigga that's gonna help me do it. But no, because I'm not having no dead child. I'm not having no molested child. If shit happens and shit, like, I'm not, like, somebody's gonna disappear, but, like, I still love my child, but somebody's gonna fucking disappear. You just gonna never see that person again. Like, whoever the fuck did it, I'm just gonna make sure I have enough money that they don't exist no more, and it doesn't lead back to me in any which way, where, how, or whatever at all. You gonna have to prove it, nigga. I don't care if I'm saying it now. I seen shit when niggas was saying it now, and they still didn't get caught, nigga. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that, nigga. You got these celebrities with these fucking dead bodies in their basements, bet. But because they can afford to, yeah, these fucking celebrities probably over here eating people just like in the movies, because every time we find out that some shit from the movies is true, there's some truth to the stereotypes, nigga. Like, white people been cannibalizing since they've been here, and you really sitting up here thinking that there's, like, that Jeffrey Dahmer is an isolated incident. So, that's not gonna happen. So, you gotta treat people like they're a child. That's it. Like, you just gonna have to treat people like they're a child, because you acting like a child. And so she was acting like a child, so Gregory had to get up in her face, and she showed up to the golfing situation, and she was like, oh no, like, I'm not trying to force you to come back to my house. And so she got it. Like, sometimes you need to just take some time to yourself. Neurotypicals, neurodivergents that feel like they got a mask all the fucking time and not take some time to yourself. Sometimes you just need to be by your motherfucking self and just do your little hobbies and read your books and play the video games and talk to your cat and shit and take a nap or cry. Or sometimes it's just because people be peopling, and the only time they don't be peopling is if you, like, really used to each other and shit, and they really accept all the things about you, and they really do not, like, personalize the shit that you do and make it about them. That's the only time you can feel that relaxed to just be around somebody all the time and shit. They just don't personalize every fucking thing you do to be about something to do with them and shit, and they can just let you be sometimes and shit. And then they can join in on being and shit, and just be doing shit. Like, we can play video games together, and we can like eat foods, different foods and shit together, and we can like watch different movies together because we're in sync that way. Because in sync just basically means that you don't have to like second guess what I'm doing, and I don't have to second guess what you do, and we can just fucking be. Just like me sitting up here, my cat's been here the whole fucking time, and she's not worried about me, I'm not worried about her, because we could just be in each other's energy and shit, and it's just chill like that. And that's how you can be together all the fucking time and not go crazy. Yep. But not many people can do that. Do the shit that you and your cat can do. Even when I annoy her, like, I be doing little shit and be fucking with her and shit, like, and she just still comes back to me. Like, she just loves me. It's so like I don't abuse my cat or nothing, but like sometimes I'll pick her up and I'll just hold her, and she don't want to be held too long, and I'll just keep holding her. She's like, no, we're snuggling. I be trying, she has her own little, but she don't be like mad, like, and just be hiding, and I never see her, or she don't jump off the balcony into the tree that's next to the balcony and just walk away and shit. Like, we love each other and shit. Like, that's love. So, and so like sometimes, like, that's what Barbara learned. Sometimes you can just coexist in silence and do a hobby together and not second guess each other, and just enjoy the space with each other and enjoy the feelings and emotions that preside in that space without blaming one another for those feelings and emotions. And it's magical and beautiful and shit. But yeah, that is the video for this evening, and I hope you enjoy, because I'm like really fucked up right now. Oh, I think I took too much shit. I like really fucked up. I don't want to take it. Like, I'm really fucked up. Like, I wanted to do shit after this. Like, I had other things to do. Y'all niggas need to try the absinthe. I'm not a drinker. I drink once a week. But that absinthe, nigga. That absinthe, nigga. It is. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you have a great evening, and God bless the people that are genocided and are going through the things, and keep them safe, and keep us all safe from white supremacy, Lord, because this is all this is. This is white supremacy, and it's a horrible, horrible thing. So keep us safe in the name of Jesus. Praise God. In Jesus' name I pray. Ashe. Later days.